Okay, I'm back, and this week I'm going to do the date night recipe as promised before I left on vacation. And the recipe I'm going to do this week is going to be my cherry date reduction salmon. And what I have here is a half-pound piece of sockeye salmon. Now this really is just a serving for one. I'm just using this for demonstration purposes. Obviously for two people you would probably get a pound and then just have it cut. So what I did first, and this already done, is I took and reduced some cherry balsamic vinegar and some spiced date vinegar together with a tablespoon of brown sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a couple teaspoons of butter, about a tablespoon of butter really. And that recipe will be up on my site as well, but I did that ahead of time, and you can see reduced down, it's very syrupy. See how it's coating the bowl? It gets very thick and syrupy. And that's what we're going to baste the fish with before we put it in the oven to bake. If you don't happen to have those kinds of vinegars, you can easily just use a regular balsamic vinegar and just substitute about a quarter cup of prune juice, and you'll get a very similar flavor. And maybe put in just a little bit of the brown sugar still and a little bit of nutmeg, and you'll get a very similar flavor to what this is. So I'm going to go ahead and baste the fish, and I'm going to baste it pretty liberally. I'm going to put a couple coats on, and you can see kind of how thick and syrupy it is, and that's what you want. You kind of pat some onto the ends as well, the cut end. You want it to cover the whole thing. And I'm, really kind of putting it on there thick like that. If you can kind of see, it's nice and dark. And then what we're going to do is put it into the oven. I have preheated 475. And it's going to end up cooking total about 17 to 20 minutes. We're going to stop it about halfway through, and we're going to rebaste it again and then put it back in to finish. So I have the first coat on, and then what I'm going to do, I'm taking a little bit of white pepper, and you can see it's very finely ground, and I'm just from up high, I'm just going to snow that over the top a little bit. I like to have a little bit of that peppery heat against the sweetness and the tang of the balsamic reduction. If you don't have white pepper, you can use fresh ground black, but again, I would do it from up high and just gently snow it over. You don't want a real pungent black pepper taste. You really want the fruity sweetness of the balsamic reduction to come through. Just a little bit of heat is a nice contrast. Okay, so we're going to pop this in the oven for about 10 minutes and then pull it out, rebaste it, and I will be back with you shortly. Okay, so now it's been about halfway through. I put it in for 9 minutes, so about halfway through the cooking time. I'm going to take it out and we're going to rebaste. Okay. So we're just going to put another nice thick coat. I kind of dab it on at this point instead of brushing, because I don't want to brush off the pepper that I had on there. I just, I want to keep it moist, but I don't want to brush off all the pepper, so I just kind of dab and drizzle it at this point. Nice even coat on there again, nice and moist. Put it back in. It's looking most of the way done, so I don't think we're going to need the full 20 minutes. I'm going to put it in for probably about another 6 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes, because this is a fairly thin fillet, and I think that will do it. But that's the thing, is it will obviously matter on the size of your fillet and the thickness as to how much time you're going to need. You just need to eyeball it. Okay, so I'm going to pop this back in and take it out in about 6 or 7 minutes, and I'll show you how to plate it with my wild rice risotto. Okay, so the fish is done cooking. I've taken it out, I've given it a few minutes to rest. As you can see, I've plated the wild rice. This recipe is on my site. It's called cheesy rice on my site, and it's cooked very much like a risotto, except with wild rice. And so I put down a bed of that, and then all you do is you just get under the fish, kind of separate it with the spatula from its skin, and just gently put that down onto the bed of rice. And this looks beautiful plated with anything green. So whether it's green beans, whether it's broccoli, asparagus, whatever it is, it looks lovely plated because it's dark and against the lighter color of the rice with a nice bright vegetable. So this is the finished product, and all of these recipes, the reduction, the salmon, and the cheesy rice can all be found on my site, lemomgastronome.com.